Hi gardening friends, you are watching Gardening on Taylor Mountain and my name is Bobby. I thought you might like to see a little tour of my cool flowers. I don't do a whole lot of garden tours on my channel, so I thought it was kind of time. In case you're not familiar with the term cool flowers are flowers that can go out into the ground a little bit earlier than some of your warm season annuals, and you would start them early. I started them in February in my zone 6B. I started some early February, some mid-February. Some I sowed 6 weeks before my first frost date last fall, and they just kind of overwintered, and then when the spring came on they started picking up a little bit. I thought you might like to see a cut flower production from a perspective of a smaller cut flower grower. I'm calling myself a tween gardener. I heard someone very prominent, a cut flower teacher, very prominent man, say that if you're not selling your cut flowers, you're not a cut flower farmer. I took a little bit of issue with that because I don't sell my flowers. All of my flowers are either for giveaway bouquets or donating or something like that. But it's kind of like telling me, well, you don't have 1,000 head of cattle, you only have 200 head of cattle or whatever. You're not a real cattle farmer. Well, I don't know about that. I do the same things that a large cattle farmer would do. We do the same things here on the farms. So I do the same things in my cut flower garden that a larger cut flower producer would do. But I do appreciate all of my commercial flower farmer friends. I appreciate the blood, sweat, and tears, the sacrifices they make, the dealing with weather, dealing with pest issues and things like that. I know it's not an easy business, so I'm not taking anything away from them. But you know what? Don't let anyone tell you you're not a real gardener. We all have our different races to run, and I'm running my race by doing what I feel in my heart to do at this point in my life, as far as donating my flowers. And you run your race, and don't let anyone tell you, as far as gardening, that you're not a gardener. You're growing a tomato plant on your patio. Well, you're gardening in my book. So anyway, let's take a look at these cool flowers. We can start over here next to and behind my greenhouse. This is just a stock tank, and late winter I sowed larkspur seeds everywhere, and they should be a lot taller by now and they should have blooms on them, but you can see they are budding up, so we may get some flowers. If they were in the ground, I think they would be a lot taller. And then I also sowed some Bupleurum in here last fall, and it overwintered, and I have some more Bupleurum I'll show you in the other garden. But it overwintered and then it just started taking off in the spring. Bupleurum makes a great filler. I was saying to myself, I'm really not going to use Bupleurum again, I'm not going to grow it again, but now I've grown to love it, so I think I will use it again, and it lasts a long time in the vase. Then I just stuck some sunflower seedlings in here because I was needing extra room. And here behind the greenhouse, just in a resin barrel, I have more larkspur, and there's a sea holly that I stuck in there that I had left over. I'll show you some more sea holly out in the garden. This larkspur here did absolutely nothing. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Here's some Bachelor button, and it is getting a little bit windy, but I need to up my Bachelor button game. I need to grow Bachelor button in a larger space. I love Bachelor button. Now we're in the main part of my cut flower garden, and this is Feverfew, and you can see, I believe it's Feverfew white. It is really coming on there, makes a beautiful filler. When you grow your cool flowers as seedlings, they just sit there in their little cell packs for quite a while, or however you like to grow them, whether it be soil blocks, cell packs, or whichever. They sit there and they sit there, and they are small little plants for a long time, and then you plant them out after you've hardened them off, and they start taking off when the weather starts heating up just a little bit. This is, you know, I'm talking spring, I'm talking early spring when you put your cool flowers out. But you can see there the Feverfew is very happy. I need to harvest some of it for some bouquets. This is sea holly behind it, And I don't see any buds on it yet, but it will bud up. I'm going to use that for to dry. And then on this trellis is Lizianthus. I did not grow my Lizianthus from seed myself. I bought that from a grower. I understand that it's very hard to grow from seed, so I thought, well, I'm not going to give that a try right now. I love Lizianthus so much. I started growing it last year, and I really need to learn more how to harvest Lizianthus because the stems are pretty, well, I'm distracted here. Here's a butterfly. Hello, beautiful. Do your thing. Very good. Anyway, what was I saying? The Lizianthus, the stems on them are kind of short on each flower. So if I were to harvest some of this for a long stem, then I would forfeit some of the other buds. So I need to learn how actually to harvest it a little better. I've just been using it in small vases. I have not been using it in my giveaway bouquets. And that in the center of this trellis is Cosmos. Now that is not a cool flower, but I use every inch of space I possibly can to grow things. In this clay pot I have some basket flower. You can see the taller there. It is blooming out. That's a cool flower. The rest of the things in here are ageratum, that's not a cool flower, and some cosmos. Let me step around here. I want to show you this white cosmos. It's so, so pretty. Oh gosh, I just love it. I need to deadhead some of it. But I just love the white cosmos. But I also love the basket flower. How fun. And these beds that I'm growing, or that I'm showing you now, are the Vigo garden beds. They're the little bit larger beds that I use. And I have the chives that I just recently cut back. I absolutely love chives. I don't use them in my cut flowers because they have an odor. I don't use them in bouquets. But of course you can use them, you know, in cooking. You can freeze the flowers and different things for cooking. But I just love to look at them, and they're starting to bud out again. And then I have pincushion flower that has quite a few buds on it. And Scabiosa, which is also starflower. You can see I planted quite a bit of the starflower, maybe too many. What do you think? But you can see it's starting to do its starflower thing here. And in that seed pod there are tons and tons of seeds. So once you grow starflower, you never need to buy seeds again. You can save those seeds. And all of these flowers will turn into that type of seed pod. So you can use them either way in a bouquet. In this bed we have Colorado Yarrow, and it is all budded up. I'm excited to see that. And then we have straw flowers. Last year we grew lots of straw flowers, and we harvested tons of them for drying and fresh. Straw flowers are absolutely one of my favorites. So easy to grow, really, and make beautiful dried flowers and fresh flowers. So they have quite a few buds coming on them. These next two beds are, I believe they're 3 by 4 is the measurement on the bed, and they're about 13 inches deep. So they're not very big, but I sowed this Dara last fall, and let's get a little bit closer. It's like Queen Anne's lace, but let me show you one of the flower heads. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. But unlike Queen Anne's lace that sheds, if you've ever used Queen Anne's lace in a bouquet, you know that it sheds. The Dara does not shed. And then this is the American Legion poppy, and I only ended up with one poppy plant here in this bed. But that's fine. I don't use these for cutting, but oh my goodness, aren't they so beautiful? Love them so much. Behind the Dara, I have a little bit of Bupleurum left. I've harvested a bunch of that, but the Dara has really taken over, as you can kind of see here, and done its thing. I don't know that I would do Dara again. I think I might do Orlea instead of Dara. but we'll see. And then I have a little bit of Nigella left in this bed. The Nigella is one of my absolute favorite cool flowers. I think I love the seed pods just as much, or maybe even a little bit more than the flowers. There's a little flower left, but I just sowed some more Nigella. You can just keep sowing it and keep sowing it, and it also self-seeds. And then I like to use these seed pods in arrangements and also dry them for the dried flower Christmas tree. In this bed we have my treasure, which is my 1 Bells of Ireland that germinated for me. I have not had a lot of success in germinating Bells of Ireland, so I'm really babying this one, but it does have some bells on it, so I am super excited about that. It has several stalks of the bells. So I'm going to do better and learn how to have more Bells of Ireland in the garden. Right next to it is Statice. I grew QIS apricot. QIS stands for quality in seed, and also Seeker Blue, and they are budding up full of flowers there, so they're going to be blooming soon. The Statice is another thing that when you grow it from seed, it just sits there and sits there as these little tiny starts and sits there forever. And you almost say, oh, is it even worth taking up space in the garden for them? But then you plant them and one day they just decide to bulk up. So they're definitely worth it. And here is some eucalyptus that has a little bit smaller foliage on it. So I've been cutting on that a little bit. And then also I just added some cosmos in here. Like I said, again, this is not a cool flower, but I always am throwing cosmos seeds everywhere. Some of this I started from seeds, some of that I just direct seeded. And then finishing up with our cool flower tour is the Snapdragon Bed. You and I planted these out together in a video, which I will link below, and I netted them. And I grow rocket yellow, rocket pink, rocket mix, Madam Butterfly bronze, and maybe one other variety. I'm not sure, but have quite a few here that need to be harvested. Now I leave my snapdragons in the bed, this bed, during the summer. I know commercial growers, usually I think they turn over their beds pretty quickly, or they turn over their rows and they would remove their snapdragons. But these will lull during the really hot heat of the summer, which we have had some hot summer days and then some cooler summer days. But these will lull, and then come fall they'll pick back up again and produce more blooms. So that's why I leave my snapdragons in this bed. That pretty much brings us to the end of our cool flower tour, and it is starting to heat up now. I've got a lot of chores to do, so I need to get on that. I'm glad you spent a few minutes with me, and until next time, happy gardening. Bye-bye, friends.